Coming up on AGweekTV.
The coronavirus food assistance program is underway and payments are starting to get out the door.
We'll look at how the pandemic is impacting agritourism in the region.
We'll take you to a year-round tomato grower in northeastern North Dakota.
And is the time finally right for Congress to pass an interstate meat bill? We'll find out. Welcome to AGweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook. COVID response continues in the nation's capital. Wyoming Representative Liz Cheney has introduced companion legislation to South Dakota Senator Mike Round's new Markets for State-Inspected Meat and Poultry Act. The bill would make state-inspected meat equivalent to federally inspected product so it could be sold across state lines. This would help address current production issues, especially while the nation's major meat processing facilities continue working to get running at full capacity.
With both cattle processing and pork processing being limited right now because of the COVID-19 response, we had actually asked within both Leader McConnell and Schumer to include this in COVID-19 response legislation just to make sure that we didn't have shortages within our own country.
This type of bill has been offered several times. However, Round says with the recent crisis in the nation's meat processing industry, the legislation has better odds of passing in Congress. Processing capacity has been steadily improving at the nation's pork plants. In fact, the daily swine slaughter rates are around 460,000 head per day, which is down about 4% from last year. However, there are still flare-ups, including Hormel Foods and their supplier, Quality Pork Processors in Austin, Minnesota. The State Department of Health recently reported nearly 250 positive cases in the plants, which is reducing processing capacity.
You know, it's somewhere probably around that 60% or so at this point. And I know that they have been out communicating with farmers that they purchase pigs from, you know, giving them the heads up as to where they're at with things and what expectations are.
Preisler says they hope Hormel and QPP don't have to fully shut down operations and will be able to work through this labor hiccup. In the meantime, they're still trying to determine the number of hogs that are backed up or have been euthanized. As part of COVID response, farm state lawmakers have also sent a bipartisan letter to USDA, urging the agency to allow producers to graze or harvest cover crops on prevented plant acres prior to November 1st. They want penalties eliminated as long as activities are outside of the primary nesting season. Lawmakers say this would help ensure producers have adequate feed sources for the backlog of livestock due to meat processing capacity shortfalls tied to COVID-19. They're asking for the date to be moved up to September 1st, which USDA granted last year. As far as COVID aid, FSA is rolling out checks despite limited personnel at county offices. AgriPulse's Spencer Chase has an update from Washington.
It's a little after 5 o'clock, rush hour in the nation's capital. The street behind me, typically bumper-to-bumper traffic at this time of day. Now, see for yourself. This street runs directly in front of the Washington headquarters of the Department of Agriculture. Employees there have been teleworking since March, and now signs on the building's doors illustrate the conditions for entry or lack thereof. It's not just USDA's DC operations that have changed. USDA's county offices have been working through social distancing challenges as they distribute $16 billion in direct payments to producers through the Coronavirus Food Assistance Program, according to Farm Service Agency Administrator Richard Fordyce.
A little over $2.8 billion has been made in payments. Over 220,000 producers have applied. Doing that almost exclusively remotely, I think it's been quite an accomplishment for the agency.
Producer applications have been rolling in, and Fordyce says FSA has tried to adapt to the online application format.
We had to provide some additional equipment. We have also employed some new technology, to allow for transmission of documents, to get digital signatures. So kind of a transformation really for the agency. In a pretty short period of time.
He says USDA should be able to expand the program if more money comes from Capitol Hill to do so. Reporting from Washington for AGweekTV, Spencer Chase, AgriPulse.
Iowa State University researchers are studying the impact the pandemic has had on the agricultural industry. Among other things, they've developed a pricing tracker by looking at where prices were at the beginning of the year versus where they are now because of the effects of COVID. This includes changes in demand for certain foods or other ag products because of the shutdown. Associate Professor Chad Hart says the impacts are still evolving, but what they're finding is crop prices remain low, while after an initial deep drop, livestock prices are bouncing back.
So we then worked through what those price changes were, how much production was available for sale at the time, and have built this sort of economic damage model that we're updating on a weekly basis to look at sort of the financial impact to farmers from the COVID-19 outbreak.
Hart says the information can help farmers make decisions now and in the future. You can find the price tracker by going to the website on the screen. A Minnesota farmer faces federal charges for a scheme in which he got an elevator to pay him for more grain than he delivered. Federal prosecutors in Minneapolis have charged Brian Dallas Crandall of Herman of one count of conspiracy. They claim he colluded with co-conspirators at the CHS elevator from 2013 through 2017. Prosecutors say two scale operators would manually alter Crandall's tickets in exchange for some of the fraudulent proceeds. The government is seeking up to $355,000 in a money judgment and a right to other forfeitures. Crandall is also awaiting a trial in July in a separate case in which he's accused of cheating a vulnerable adult in a farmland deal in Traverse County. You can read details of both cases at AGweek.com. Coming up on AGweekTV,
we'll take a look at how the pandemic is affecting agritourism this summer.
Advanced Grain Handling is your regional dealer for grain handler dryers, bins, and accessories. With Grain Handler's continuous mixed flow drying systems, you're capable of high levels of grain dryer efficiency on all types of grain, including seed grain. Advanced Grain Handling also carries West Steel's quality stainless steel products for on-farm and commercial grain storage solutions. Advanced Grain Handling has licensed and trained service techs and a licensed electrical shop. Get a hold of Chad Kylo to find the perfect solution for your farm.
This is Dennis Belisky reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Keep your equipment in the field when you need it most with parts from Titan Machinery. We carry a full line of high-quality Case IH parts designed for optimal performance and durability. We also carry alternative parts options at lower price points with rugged designs for a great mix of affordability and performance to fit a wide variety of makes and models. Contact your local Titan Machinery location today or shop online at www.titanmachinery.com. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH parts leader.
When you think about it, productivity starts at planting. So it's time to rethink how productive your planter can be. We did with the new Case IH 2000 Series Early Riser Planter. We rethought your row unit so it's tougher, more accurate. We rethought your meter, took the most precise technology, factory installed it. We rethought every inch of the Case IH Early Riser Planter to make it the most productive planter around. And if you think about it, that's exactly what you want.
Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Welcome back. In an update on the Dicamba case we reported last week, plaintiffs in the case filed an emergency motion late June 11th asking a federal court to halt Dicamba use. The suit also requests EPA be held in contempt of court for its decision to allow farmers to use existing stocks of 3 Dicamba herbicides through July 31st. Meanwhile, EPA is arguing that it's overseeing a responsible wind down of existing stocks of Dicamba that is legal under federal law. Crop conditions are pretty good so far in west central Minnesota despite a cool spring and recent high winds. David Opsahl of Central Crop Consulting says the strong winds are starting to blow away soybean spraying opportunities. He has about 30 clients in the Fergus Falls, Rothsay, and Battle Lake area that grow corn, soybeans, sugar beets, and spring wheat. He says the crop looks good despite the wet fall, which left a lot of unworked corn stalks. Most farmers finished spraying corn before the winds picked up, but that's not true for soybeans.
Planting was such a wide window. You know, we started early on some fields and ended on these ones here just 2 weeks ago. So they're pretty much starting to get sprayed. The wind is not helping us this week. So, you know, a little bit got done last week on the couple days they could, but for the most part, we're sitting now waiting to spray a lot of the beans.
Opsahl says there is minimal prevented plant acres in the area he covers. Many farmers rely on agritourism to help boost their bottom line, but COVID-19 is having a big impact on those operations this summer and perhaps into the fall. Noah Fish has more in this week's Agweek cover story.
COVID-19 has not only impacted the entire U.S. agritourism industry, but it's also changed the way that some people like to pick berries in the summer.
As soon as Governor Walz issued the stay-at-home order, we started to think about how it might affect our farm.
Tanya and Dean Sanner own Firefly Berries near Rochester, Minnesota. But when the Minnesota Department of Health released guidelines for U-Pick berry operations during the pandemic, the Sanners decided the new rules are too much for their family-run business. So they will pick their own berries this year rather than let the public come out and pick.
At first glance, it seems like it would be really easy to social distance out here, but in assessing risks for ourselves and for our customers, we just decided that the risks outweighed the benefits of being open.
Agritourism can be defined as any time the public comes to the farm for fun or education. It's nearly $1 billion a year industry as more producers try to make up for low prices. And many will be able to continue this year with some modifications.
Agritourism seems to be a way to really prevent transmission, and it's a safe activity that you can do with your family. That being said, some agritourism operations have not been able to open due to whatever regulation is in place.
Although a few operations are temporarily closed, SPAR doesn't think the pandemic will seriously hurt agritourism long term. In Rochester, Minnesota, this is Noah Fish for Agweek.
You can read much more on our cover story in the next Agweek magazine or at agweek.com. A new farm-to-table cafe is thriving in southeast Minnesota despite the pandemic. 4 friends opened the free-range exchange in a one-time bank building in Hoka last November. What makes it different and popular is that they do their own baking and even grow some of their own produce. The rest of the meat and other ingredients are locally sourced. The cafe has been well received by the community.
There are people coming in from all of the neighboring communities, and they really love the intent behind free range exchange and the fact that things are local and we support local businesses and vendors. So I think it's a great local love hangout spot.
There's a chalkboard in the cafe that lists most of the farms where the cafe gets its ingredients. They also sell some retail products.
Coming up on AGweekTV, we'll take you to a tomato farm business that isn't slowing down in the pandemic.
And later, get ready for a new line of combines from John Deere.
Dynaflow is the ultimate high-volume water management pump. Whether you're experiencing flooding, emptying sloughs, transferring ponds, or working on irrigation, the Dynaflow pump works in as little as 18 inches of water and is designed to move 3,000 gallons per minute. The Dynaflow lift pump is the perfect upgrade to your drain tile system. Using line shaft turbine pump technology, these pumps are made to last while operating efficiently. Dynaflow drain tile pumps can move up to 1,500 gallons per minute, up to 3,400 feet away.
At Superior Grain Equipment, we're committed to quality and service, offering you the best in grain storage and dryers for any size operation. Our experts will work with you to determine the most efficient and economical storage solution for your needs. We help protect your bottom line and your future with the industry's best bins and warranties. Make the superior choice for protection today and tomorrow with Superior Grain Equipment.
Add more bushels to your hopper and money to your pocket by harnessing the power of air with Crary Wind Systems. Whether your beans are chest high or barely off the ground, Prairie offers two solutions that add a constant stream of high-velocity air to quickly feed crop back to the auger, eliminating bunching, reducing shatter loss, and increasing your ground speed. Don't let crop conditions dictate your yield. Check out the Prairie Air Reel or Prairie Wind System today.
For Agweek, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Agweek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Change is constant in the ag industry. Stay ahead of the change with the latest ag news and insights from experienced ag journalists with an Agweek membership. Get unlimited access to ag markets, tech trends, policy news and products, along with farm life insights, profiles, and more with light access. Upgrade to all access and get unlimited access to all of our FCC news sites, along with your award-winning ag news. Become a member today at agweek.com/subscribe for the ag news you need.
It has been a hot and windy week through much of the region, which will be a concern if it continues. So what can we expect? Here's John with our agri-weather outlook.
The weather portion of Agweek now, and after several days of very hot weather getting way up into the northern plains, even into parts of southern Canada, that is retreating, and signs are maybe the last of the really hot weather in the northern U.S. for maybe several weeks, perhaps the rest of June. We may get it back, but it's not showing any sign of that for the time being. It is relaxing. Where the heat is going is into the western part of the United States, especially the southwest, but that's the season. June is the season for the really hot temperatures in the desert southwest. There'll be other areas, not as much heat in the middle and not much at all in the eastern part of the Midwest and the northeastern United States. And overall, I'm not saying we're not going to have any storms. That would be a crazy statement. But the storminess that has come with these surges of hot weather into the Great Plains, that's all going to be settling down. So let's look at the pattern. An interesting blocky pattern right now that has the jet stream kind of split into a couple of parts. Very warm air is building up in north central Canada for the season. That also is fairly typical. Places even up in the Northwest Territories will often record their hottest temperatures of the summer in June. Alaska is the same way. So this warm weather up there is not as unusual as you might think. Most of the nation fairly warm, but the really hot weather has gone south, and we're going to see a lot of 70s and 80s into the northern plains and upper Midwest. Now, as this pattern gradually evolves, we're going to see it leading by the end of the week toward cooler weather in the Great Lakes and the upper part of the western sections of the Midwest, and hotter weather building up in the interiors of the western part of the United States. Up in Alaska, they're actually having a little bit of a cool down while the warmest weather in the north shifts into central parts of Canada. Now, there will be a little bit of ridging taking place as we head toward next weekend out in the western part of the country. What that's going to end up doing is pulling the heat north, and there may be a surge or two of some 90-degree heat up into the high plains, but it won't be able to stay very long. It looks like in general that western ridge will flatten, and the pattern from west to east across the country will also flatten just a little bit. What does this mean? We're going to see a lot of warm weather, not a lot of hot weather, except down here in the southwest, and eventually some of the southeastern eastern seaboard states will get a few days of fairly warm weather. We may start seeing some hot weather returning to the north by around the 4th of July. That's very iffy. Showers and thunderstorms really concentrated in the deep south this week. The showers and storms will be more scattered across the north, not much rain at all in the western U.S. And the second week, again, we're going to see most of the rain shifting to the Corn Belt sections of the country and the southeast. But at this point, that last part of June, first part of July does not look like we're going to see a lot of excessive rainfall anywhere.
2020 has started off where 2019 left off, with a lot of uncertainty and concern. Is your farming operation ready to take the volatility this year has to offer? Do you have a marketing plan in place to take advantage of opportunity? Are you finding it hard to separate the noise from the news? Talk to the professionals at Martinson Ag. we can help you make sound risk management decisions that will help your operation survive during these unusual times.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
Growing up as a kid, Gateway was always the grain bin building and the grain handling people that were out in our area. One of the reasons we chose to go with Gateway was they're the leader in the industry and they are the #1 Brock dealer in the United States. We've really liked the Brock design and some of the designs that Gateway has come up with throughout the years. My best advice would be to just put your trust in them and let them come up with a design that's going to fit your needs.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
And what can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy?
Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
Agweek brings you timely agriculture news from field to fork in digital, print, and television. Fresh every week, join Jenny Schlecht from the Agweek editorial team and me, Al Windmill, from the sales and marketing team for a deeper dive into farm and ranch stories, along with guest interviews with personalities from the world of agriculture. If you're involved in farming, ranching, or agribusiness, the Agweek podcast is the show for you.
60 miles northeast of Grand Forks, North Dakota, you'll find Meadowlark Garden. They grow tomatoes in a 4,300 square foot greenhouse for local restaurants and grocery stores almost all year. Katie Pinky checked out their operation.
And we have bees. There's a bee for pollinating.
It all started when Dennis Lowen, his wife and family returned to the U.S. after 25 years of farming in Brazil.
They're very friendly, very nice people.
They wanted to start a business, so they bought this greenhouse from a relative.
I think of it as a good retirement job.
Did you have experience with greenhouses?
No.
And so why did you decide to go the greenhouse route in northeast and North Dakota?
I enjoy working with plants. It's intriguing. It's challenging to know what all the nutrients that a plant needs and to keep it healthy and balanced with fruit and leaves.
The process starts around the first of the year when the plants are seeded. Meadowlark gets them in mid-February when they are planted in the greenhouse.
They're just grown in that little bag, not in the soil. Put that little drip tube in there. We set that on the bag and that's how we plant them.
The first tomatoes are ready to pick and deliver in late April. These indeterminate plants continue to produce until December.
That means the plant keeps growing and it keeps blossoming. If you see up top, there's blossoms. And then there's smaller tomatoes, and then the bigger ones and the ripe ones and when it gets to the top, we lower that, and then we have to move it along.
As you can imagine, heat is their biggest expense in this climate.
These pipes, the carts roll on there, plus they're hot water and overhead radiators.
They grow several varieties, with beefsteak being the most popular. And the secret to their success? Lowen says it's the difference between tomatoes being picked green and shipped a long distance, or vine-ripened, picked fresh.
It's picked today and you can have it for lunch. That's the quality. That I have no other secrets.
At Park River, North Dakota, this is Katie Pinky for Agweek.
He says they've recently branched out into microgreens, which they supply to high-end restaurants. And you can read more at agweek.com. John Deere has a new line of combines that the company says will allow for faster, more fuel-efficient harvesting. The combines have a corresponding line of headers that includes a 50-foot draper. A John Deere spokesman says the machines will be able to harvest up to 30 acres of tough, high-yielding wheat per hour and up to 7,200 bushels of high-yielding corn. They can make automatic adjustments for conditions and can run for 14 hours without refueling. Those combines will be available in 2021. Still ahead on AGweekTV, we'll show you a unique salute to corn growers.
Be ready for the challenging field conditions you face with the Summers VRT Renegade. With on-the-fly adjustment, including blade angle from 0 to 19 degrees, the VRT Renegade gives you unprecedented flexibility for the field results you want, spring or fall. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about the VRT Renegade and North America's broadest line of tillage equipment from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
When planting season comes around, time is precious and you don't have a moment to waste. This spring, keep your planters rolling with a user-friendly seed tender from North Star Ag. We have seed tenders for every size operation from Meridian, Unverferth, and J&M. North Star Ag also sells a variety of Valmar spreaders, the leader in air boom delivery. Uptime is crucial. Keep your crew in the field longer with a fuel trailer from Thunder Creek. Visit NorthstarAg.com to see our complete new and used inventory or give us a call.
Luckin Trucks and Parts sells quality used parts for all makes and models. With over 50 acres of trucks and parts and new inventory arriving daily. Family owned and operated since 1966, Luckin's specializes in the sale of quality used medium to heavy duty truck parts as well as pre-owned trucks, trailers, and construction equipment. If it's on a truck, we got it. Call us today and let us get you your part.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A Minnesota beer distributor is saluting corn farmers in a unique way. This spring, Anheuser-Busch released specially marked cans of Busch Light featuring corn as a way to support Farm Rescue's expansion into Kansas. Busch Light is the country's best-selling beer made from corn. Doug Rustemeyer, owner of DS Beverages of Moorhead, says the can has been so popular he decided to take it one step farther. He had a custom wrap made for a combine from RDO equipment. Right now you can see it parked at RDO along I-94 in South Moorhead. Unfortunately, many of the events they plan to take it to have been canceled. But Rustemeyer says it's still a nice salute to corn farmers.
It's a pretty cool deal though. It's a brand new combine and it looks pretty sweet having the corn can on it. So yeah, I encourage people to take a look at it.
By the way, corn growers, the Busch Light wrapped combine is for sale. Thanks for watching this week's edition of AGweekTV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Have yourself a great and safe week.